Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host Tom Howe and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news contents that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's show, we join local illustrator and tattoo artist Fynn to learn more about his experience on the current series of Channel 4's Great Pottery Throwdown. We check in with Senior ShelterBox Emergency Coordinator Martin Strutton to hear about the disaster relief charity's recent responses in the Philippines following a series of powerful typhoons and earthquakes. As well as that, we take a trip into Community Radio Week with Chaos Radio's PG and Nathan Hunkin, diving into what this means for our sector, our listeners, and the future of local broadcasting. Finally, we hear from Iris Billing, the founder of Tanya's Courage Trust, which has recently marked 20 years of supporting young people affected by cancer across Cornwall, the Isles of Scilly and Devon.
NEWSWAVE.
First this week, local illustrator and tattoo artist Fynn may be most recognised from the current series of Channel 4's Great Pottery Throwdown, where a group of talented people across the UK compete to be named Britain's best potter. He ventured into the Chaos Radio studios earlier this week to chat to Ross Lannon.
NEWSWAVE.
Joining me here in the studio is Fynn. Okay, now Fynn is an illustrator and a tattoo artist based here in Cornwall with years of creative experience. But not just that, okay? Now, many of you may also recognise Fynn from the current series of Channel 4's The Great Pottery Throwdown, where a group of talented people across the UK compete to be named Britain's best home potter. Fynn joins us now. Fynn, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for making the trip to see us at Chaos today.
Cheers, thanks for inviting me. It's great.
Now, you're competing to be Britain's best home potter, which is quite a title, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big feat and a massive challenge.
Certainly is. Now, first things first, I want to start off by saying congrats for getting the gig in itself, because I'm going to admit to you, I am new to the pottery throwdown world.
Yep.
Okay. Very new to it. I knew you were coming on the show. Was very excited when we have a local contestant on any of these type of shows, right?
Yep.
Saw you coming on the show and thought, I better do some research, better know what I'm talking about a little bit.
Yeah.
Started it over the weekend, obsessed, binge watched all 4 episodes.
Yep.
Couldn't stop. So absolutely loved it. So I'm a convert now.
Yeah,
Absolutely
a lot
love
of
it.
people are. The amount of people I know that have started watching it just because they're either customers of mine or friends of mine that have had zero interest in pottery in the past. And I think it's one of those shows, whether you know anything about pottery or not, it's just such a wholesome show that everyone's like invested in people right from the day, like right from the get-go, episode 1.
Yeah, it really is. And I've just kind of fallen down this pottery hole now, and I'm just loving it.
That's what happened with me. You know, I've been watching the show for years, right from sort of series 1, and you know, I that's probably what got me into pottery to begin with. It's only 2.5 years since I actually started doing pottery itself, but it's definitely the show that again made me think, I'm going to go and give it a go, and I did, and pottery itself grabbed me the same way the show did. So
amazing.
Yeah, unless you actually want to start doing pottery, I'd advise not starting it, because you end up down a wormhole of that again.
It takes over your life. Now, I want to know how this all came about. If you said you've only been doing it for a couple of years, how did this come about? Did you just think you saw the show, loved it, and thought, I want to give it a go, or how did you get into it? I
think it was always in the back of my head after watching the show, and I was just thinking I'd love to have a go at doing that one day. But the actual thing that got me into it, there was myself and a few friends that were all sort of artists. We were in our own rights, went on a little holiday for a weekend. It was actually up in Oakhampton at one of these like retreat places that you can go and try lots of different things. Got to have a go on a wheel. And then my friend Susie, actually, who is a potter herself, said to me, you know, come and do it a bit more, because I had to go on a wheel and I was like, oh, this is amazing. and then my ADHD took over, and I was like, I need to go and learn to do this. And so I did. Next thing I know, it has consumed every hour of every day, and I bought a wheel and I bought a kiln, and every evening after work I'd go home and I'd be tinkering with clay, and then I just decided I'll apply to the show. Chances are I'm not going to make it, and then next thing I know, the audition process starts, and then I'm there on TV, stood in the studio going, I'm used to only watching this on a screen, and it was very, very overwhelming and very surreal.
Well, you'll be pleased to know I've now added to my bucket list in life. I want to do the pottery wheel.
Well,
at some
come
point.
and have a go. The house where I live, we've got a B&B, and I'm going to be running residential art retreats and doing some classes. So
incredible.
Come and have a go.
It has to be done. I mean, do you get kind of fed up of people referencing the kind of ghost references? Because that film kind of made it quite iconic as well, didn't it?
It definitely did, and I think that's probably one of the only film references.
Wow, yeah.
But it's definitely an iconic thing, isn't it? An iconic moment.
It really is. Now, we must say you got off to an absolute flying start.
I know, right?
with this show. First show, Potter of the Week.
I know.
Who would have thought that? What was going through your head at that moment?
Do you know what? When people said, how did it feel? I just honestly stood there absolutely dumbfounded. Like, I don't know. It made no sense at the time, and even watching it back now, when you see the cut of it on TV, I'm still stood there complete. I just felt like a deer in headlights at that point.
Yeah, and it's safe to say, for those who haven't watched the show so far, we're week 4. Week 4 is just done,
we just had
it?
Raku week. Yeah,
so we're nearly halfway through as well. And I'm not saying this just to compliment you, but I would say that you're definitely one of the front runners. You are one of the favourites on there that I would say has got a blimmin' good shot of winning it. Obviously, no spoilers or anything like that. I'm sure you've had to sign every NDA that you've ever seen.
Yeah, and I don't know what made the cut each week either, so it's just as big a surprise for me watching it each week, which is lovely actually, because it's like reliving it, but also picking up on things that, when you're so focused in that studio, you don't know what's happening. I don't even know the person behind me half the time, unless somebody swears that something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
You don't often get to see half of what I get to see on TV now, so it's lovely rewatching it, and it's all this new stuff popping up.
Yeah, and there was a lovely moment in that first week when you won the Potter of the Week, and you phoned your partner and kind of revealed, that you'd won that week, and it was great. How has the kind of reaction from friends and family been?
It's been so supportive. I mean, I could not have gone and done any of this had I not had such a good support network at home. Marnie was left at home with 6 dogs to look after. That's a big enough feat, let alone running the business. And then I left my tattoo studio in the capable hands of my stepdaughter, Maddie, that also works with me. So, I wouldn't have been able to have spent the amount of time away that I did up in Stoke-on-Trent filming had they not been at home looking after everything for me. And then, having such a big network of clients as well, they come in, and I've had little messages of them every week when it goes out live, like, well done. And it's been amazing, really amazing experience.
Oh, it's so nice to see. And as I've said, because I'm quite new to the show, I'm like recommending it to everybody I know now. So I'm like, you've got to watch it. And my friends are laughing at me like, what are you doing watching pottery? I'm like, guys,
just watch an episode.
You don't understand. I've always been a fan of the Bake Off, and it's
same production team, same layout, basically, and the same with the sewing bee. They're a little glimpse into creative people's lives, and it's great.
Yeah, it really is. And also, can we just say, like, proper educational as well? I have learned about all sorts of words. I didn't know the word throwing was even a pottery reference before
hence
this.
Throwdown.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of all these different oxides and all these different things.
I'm still learning.
I'm like, wow, okay, we are learning different things. And it's absolutely brilliant. And it's just one of those wholesome family programs, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Just sit down, watch it with your family, enjoy it. And I think that's not only helped by the great cast of the Potters there, but the team involved. Let's talk about the judges and the host.
Yeah, Siobhan,
the iconic Siobhan.
She is just fantastic.
Tell me about her. The minute you met her, what's she like?
Oh, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. honestly, she just makes everything so much fun being there as well. You know, you go in there and you're really nervous, and then stuff might not be going right, or it could be going really well, but you know, she'll just kind of like come up to you, have a bit of a laugh, and yeah, honestly, she just absolutely makes the whole experience being there so fun, you know. And then with the judges as well, with Rich and Keith, you know, everyone is what you see is what you get.
Can I just say, I'm obsessed with Keith. Like, I don't like the fact this is like, he just cries at everything, which I love.
You can go back another 8 series and watch crying all over again as well. So you've got a few to catch up on.
Oh, it's brilliant. It really is. And with the likes of Siobhan, when you've got a host like that, I always wonder when I watch shows like this, how nice is it to have someone that obviously is very lighthearted and lifts the mood, but on the other hand, it's a stressful time and you want to crack on and be doing things. It's kind of trying to find that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, if stuff's not going right, you're really up against the clock, and then she comes over, you just think in your head, you're like, oh no, not now, I've got stuff to do. But actually, it may only be there that she's for a couple of minutes, but yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot going on and a lot of time management, and I am not good with that on a daily basis, you know.
Well, something that came across on the show as a viewer is that you seem a very chilled guy, like incredibly chilled, like almost like you're just taking it all in your stride. What happens.
Yeah.
One of the weeks you said you hadn't really prepared or practiced that. Is that what your character's like in everyday life? Then?
Yeah, I'm not a big planner.
No,
I think I can be with things, but I think with creativity for me, whether it's tattooing, whether it's doing artwork, particularly when I was at school, I was never somebody that, you know, they'd be like, oh, you need to show all your workings out with things, or like with your GCSEs doing your art homework, we need notes, we need a process. And I'm like, my process is in my head because I've probably overplayed it. The franticness is in my head, and I like to just be able to make things. So a lot of the time it is kind of my gut ability to be able to do things, I suppose, really. I just sort of go with the flow as far as the clay's concerned. So yeah, sometimes I find over planning, I get more frustrated that maybe I can't recreate the thing that I've already made. So my view is, if I just make that thing there and then, I've got no preconceived ideas or expectations of what I'm going to make.
That's a good outlook. I do like that. But also, you are on national TV. So
yeah, I know. But I'm also like, well, worst case scenario, it's just clay.
True. Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. I'm never particularly precious. If I'm throwing something on a wheel and it isn't looking right, I just wire it off and chuck it in the bin. That clay can get reused. That's one thing I love about it. It is so sustainable in that sense that I've never been too precious with it right from day one.
I like that attitude. It's very nice.
Yeah.
And the skill, like, I can't believe you've only been doing this for a couple of years, but like the skills that you guys have all have to obviously have is just insane. Yeah. Talk me through, kind of, for those that haven't watched the show, some of the things you've made on the show so far, and which have been your kind of favourite and least favourite.
So the first week it was a soup tureen set. So it was I don't even know what a soup tureen was, to be honest. Essentially a soup cauldron, a couple of bowls and a ladle. Never made any of that before. I've made some bowls, but you know, 2 that are matching. That was so much fun. Again, because I got to illustrate, which is one of my strengths going into it. But yeah, throwing something that sort of size and identical, that was stressful. Bookends, week 2. That was...
I enjoyed that one. That was a great one.
That was really fun. And again, it was just instinct of, you know, just making stuff, really. Puzzle Jug, didn't enjoy that week. That was the most stressful.
Who has even ever heard of a puzzle jug?
I didn't know what one was. I don't think I'll ever be making one again either. But yeah, that was a difficult build because, you know, they were traditionally thrown on a wheel, trying to hand build something that mechanically needed to work. You know, fundamentally mine didn't. The handle, I again probably should have done what I did, but you know, it was either going to work or not. Yeah. And then Raku week, which for me going into it was like, if I can just get to week 4, I just want to play with some fire. It was the most fun.
Well, this is the thing. A lot of people, probably like myself, are thinking, what on earth is Raku? And then it's just this massive, you're just burning all the things that you've built.
It is, but you know, you're having to put something into a kiln, within 45 minutes, that's gone from being room temperature to over 1,000 degrees, that you've then precariously got to pull out of the kiln with a big set of tongs to then put it in a big bucket of sawdust. And when you've got something that's 1,000 degrees into air temperature, the chance of thermal shock is so high. And then that can literally just explode, can break into a million pieces, and then hoping it's going to come out like you'd hope. And I think that's the other thing I love about pottery. It's so unpredictable with knowing what you're going to get. And it is kind of the whole Bob Ross happy little accidents. And it can be amazing or awful. But again, I kind of love that.
Yeah, and they're all individual pieces. So if something goes wrong, you can just play that off as, that was part of the design.
Completely.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Honestly, I say it once, I'll say it a million times. It's such a great show, guys. So if anybody has not yet seen
watch it. It's good.
Sunday nights, Channel 4, make sure you're there and support Fynn as well, because we love local talent on the big screen as well. It's great. And I'm so excited. Week 5 coming up this Sunday. What's the theme of week 5? I can't remember.
Holiday souvenirs. We had to make, what was it, a plate, a bell, something else. And a tankard. So
you really have forgotten everything.
I have,
you?
yeah.
Brilliant. Now we love to see people from Cornwall on our TV screen. So I was excited when I saw that there was a Cornwall contestant.
Yep.
I'm not going to say Cornish because you weren't born in Cornwall, were you?
No, I'm from Worcestershire originally.
From Worcestershire.
I've been here 8 years this year.
Nice. But something I kind of read and looking on your site and that as well is you often try and theme a lot of your creations, bit of a Cornish twist, or like you love using the landscapes and things like that into your work, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of, probably 90% of what I do is sort of nature based, and being down here, that's a massive influence in my work.
Yeah, and I think that's really nice when people put a little touch of home into their kind of personalised creations. It's great. Now, aside from the pottery, we have to talk about your other work in terms of illustrations and tattoos and things like that.
Yep.
Has that kind of creative side, probably a silly question, but I'm guessing that has really helped you with your pottery venture as well?
Yeah, the decorative side of pottery, that definitely comes into play. I mean, pottery in itself is an entirely different skill set. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the illustrative components or just the design ideas, like you're saying, sort of bringing Cornwall into my work. The sort of animal side of things and nature is heavily what I do within the other sort of creative outlets and with tattooing as well. So yeah, it's all tied together in one ball of creativity, which is nice.
Nice, a proper creative lifestyle.
Yeah, lots of creative stuff. It's good.
So would you say, is the tattooing, is that kind of like your main job?
Yeah, tattooing's been my main bread and butter for 12 years now.
Wow.
So
okay,
yeah.
And you're obviously, for those that are watching our live stream right now, you're not short of a few tattoos yourself.
No, I'm pretty covered. Pretty covered.
See, I'm a blank canvas, and I've always fancied one.
Oh, there we go then.
But based on first impressions, what kind of tattoo do you think would suit me best?
What have we got on today? Maybe a Simpsons one.
Maybe based on the t-shirt.
Based on the t-shirt, yeah.
Maybe, okay.
Why not? Some sort of pop culture stuff, I imagine.
All about the pop culture.
Yeah, there we are.
Okay, well, let's make it happen.
Yeah,
maybe one day.
There you go. You can come and do a show from the studio.
Maybe we should live stream Ross's first tattoo.
That would be amazing.
It'd just be me crying on the stream.
You'd be all right. It's not that bad.
Now, tell me a little bit about your life and your work then, in terms of kind of the tattooing and the illustrations. I know you mentioned earlier you do these kind of art retreats, or that's the plan as well. So tell our listeners about that and how they can maybe get involved.
Yeah, cool. So me and my partner Mwani, we bought an old care home 3 years ago, which we've now spent the last 3 years converting into a B&B, which we've been running for a little while now. And I've now got my pottery studio at home. So the plan is, hopefully in the next few months, be doing some courses, and then people can come and stay at the house for like a long weekend, come and do pottery. My girlfriend does welding and art sculptures, so there'll be scope to do that. And lots, just kind of like an adult play group, I guess, essentially. Like you just get thrown in with a bunch of stuff and make something. Like there's no stress of having to be amazing. You don't need any prior experience being creative. Just basically just have fun, make stuff, and go home with some things like stuff that you can go and pin on your fridge when you get back home, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of my focus, I guess, more now. I mean, don't get me wrong, tattooing is so heavily ingrained in me. It's said 12 years. I absolutely adore it, and I can't imagine not doing it. However, I've kind of got a bit obsessed with the pottery side of things. So at the moment, that's my main thing I guess I'm focusing on. I'm still tattooing a lot as well, so I kind of part-time splitting my time between two things at the moment.
And it makes complete sense, with the popularity and the rise in popularity of pottery, and obviously your profile being on the rise as well at the minute. It's the perfect chance to kind of tap into that market and run these retreats.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, I've just really enjoyed being creative for me again, and my ideas. I think with tattooing sometimes, they are very personal, so a lot of the time I'm making stuff for other people. At the moment I'm making stuff for me and putting my story out there, or my ideas, and I suppose that's the main difference between the two things, I guess, at the moment. But the tattoo studio has been a really big venture of mine. When I first moved down to Cornwall, as I said, just coming up 8 years it will be in July since I had a studio. So we moved to a bigger premises 3 years ago, so we're right in the centre of Redruth at the moment, and for me it's kind of an extension of my home. It was the idea of having a big inclusive space for everybody, because I think sometimes people have got preconceived ideas of tattoo studios being sort of loud music, kind of a dingy environment, whereas for me it was really important to have a sort of a bright creative space that people can come into and almost feel at home. And tapping into pop culture, my walls are absolutely full of like 90s TV like memorabilia and Lego and all that kind of random stuff stuck on the walls as well. So yeah, it's just a big sort of neurodivergent LGBTQIA plus friendly environment for everybody.
That's so important, and we need to see more of that. And
definitely,
you had me at Lego. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, Lego's for everybody.
It is. You should see my house. Obsessed.
Yeah. Mine too.
Now, for anyone listening today who might be maybe feeling a little bit stuck creatively, if that's the right word, or if you could maybe give advice for someone who maybe wants to start a new challenge, such as pottery or anything like that, what advice would you give someone?
I would say don't let the hurdles of thinking you can't do something, or think, well, I can't draw. Drawing isn't everything, and that's the first thing whenever anybody says to me, I'd love to do this, but I can't draw. You don't need to be able to draw to pick up a bag of clay and to make something. And a lot of the time it isn't what you produce, it's the way that you can feel. Just the actual process rather than the end thing is sometimes just as enjoyable. I know it is for me. I actually find it very calming. It's almost like if I'm sat at a pottery wheel, I can't allow whatever's spinning around in my head to dictate what's spinning around in front of me. And it brings that calmness in, and I would be lost without that. That is the one thing that has kept me very grounded over the years, and that I would say is worth it in itself. Just having some fun, getting a group of people together. I have people that will just, I've got a group of friends, 4 or 5 of them that just want to come and open a bag of clay and just make something. There doesn't have to be an end product in mind, just that the whole process is really fun and enjoyable.
That's the main aim. You've got to have fun with it.
Yep.
Take away that pressure and just see what you create.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fynn, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. It's been lovely to meet you in person, and we all wish you the best of luck with the rest of the series.
Thank you very much.
Fingers crossed. Final plug, where can people get in contact with you best? Like if they want to maybe come to one of your retreats or book a tattoo or anything like that, what's the best way to contact you?
So I've got a website which is finnmadethis.com, and that has got all of my pottery on there. There are some links to some tattoo bits as well, and then the Lunar Lines Tattoo Studio in Redruth is where all the tattoo stuff is based.
Amazing. And people can follow you on socials as well?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, either of those, either Fynn Made This or, well, it's actually Fintendo Tattoo, which is my my tattoo page. But as I said, Lunar Lines Tattoo Studio Redruth is probably the easiest way to find us.
Brilliant stuff. We've got lots of comments coming in. People saying really looking forward to seeing the rest of the series. People asking more questions about where you're based.
Yeah, so just outside of Redruth. Everything is Redruth based, brilliant. So easy to get to. Love it.
Fynn, thank you so much, and yeah, we look forward to seeing where it all goes.
Thank you for inviting me along. It's been amazing.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, thanks Ross, and thank you Fynn. Now, Cornish disaster relief charity ShelterBox has just completed 3 overlapping emergency responses in the Philippines after a series of powerful typhoons and earthquakes that left tens of thousands of people without homes. Bryna Jordan spoke to Martin Strutton, Senior ShelterBox Emergency Coordinator, to find out more.
NEWSWAVE.
So I'm Senior Emergency Coordinator. That means I'm part of the emergency team. And my job really is to, generally speaking, lead projects that have come about as a result of rapid onset type crisis, which means, weather events, extreme weather events, and seismic stuff. So, earthquakes, volcanoes, that type of thing. And generally speaking, my role will be to be deployed for the duration, if you like, of our response there, normally sort of leading teams, particularly sort of specialists to come in and deliver that project, if you like.
And ShelterBox have just responded to 3 major disasters in the Philippines back to back. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what happened and how your teams were involved?
So, as you may well be aware, Philippines, it's on that Pacific Ring of fire, as they call it, that sort of seismic sort of area. It's also very prone to weather events as well. And this all happened at the same sort of time. This is towards the end of last year. Initially, we started responding to a typhoon, which happened on an island called Masbate, and tens of thousands of people were displaced then. And people were really in quite dire situation. Not that long, and we've got a permanent presence in the Philippines. We have a team there, and we do have materials there. So we were able to quickly mobilize that group of people that then we could start to understand what was happening on the ground. So then what happened is we have a really significant earthquake which takes place in the Cebu region. So we're a little bit south of where we were actually started working for that typhoon. But that put a lot of people into quite dire situations then. I mean, we're in, buildings have been destroyed across that island, a lot of them uninhabitable, or indeed where people are just too frightened to go and stay into places because there were aftershocks, some as nearly as big as the actual, the main earthquake itself. So we then sent a surge team from the UK to support our Philippine colleagues in order to, to be able to do those assessments and better understand what we could do for people. Whilst we're responding to that, then we get a typhoon come in, and the thing is, what it's done then is people that are already, in poor housing conditions, generally their resilience is at a low level. Well, all of a sudden, then they're hit with a typhoon, and things are really, really bad for them people then. So what we've then decided to do is that third response where we managed to actually make use of our Rotarian colleagues. We have Rotary clubs that we work with in the Philippines, and they were able to support a delivery for us that we sort of enabled, if you like, but on our behalf, because obviously at this point some of our resources were lacking in order to deliver it ourselves. So it was a big team effort, and we managed it, but it was tricky. It really was. And obviously we're working in quite difficult circumstances anyway, with the earthquakes and storms coming through at the same sort of time. So I would say quite a tricky scenario that we were looking at there.
Absolutely. How important are those global collaborations in the terms of disaster response? Because it seems invaluable to me.
It's absolutely critical. And the thing that ShelterBox, we started sort of 25 or nearly 26 years ago now from a Rotary club in Helston, and that model of being able to rely on a worldwide network as Rotary is, that's how we get access to some of these places. It's how we get access to and permissions, if you like, in order for us to be able to respond. That Rotary connection, just we couldn't really do what we do without that. So in this instance we were able to really capitalize on that, and as I say, work with our Rotary colleagues to be able to deliver for us. And we see that in a lot of places around the world. They are they're a fundamental partner for us, and we do we talk to them all the time.
And having a local presence down there really must help you all respond really, really quickly when disasters strike as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we've got a team of 4 people in the Philippines who are sort of permanent staff, if you like. But we've also got not just the offices, but obviously warehousing as well. So we have items pre-positioned, as it were, the sort of standard kits that we would normally give to people, the ones with tools and fixings, tarpaulins. We also provide things like blankets, mosquito nets, these type of things, just to get people a bit of a that sort of boost, if you like, a start after a disaster strike. So we've got those in warehousing in significant numbers there that we can then get hold of really quickly and start to deliver, as I say, within the space of days, weeks, really.
Yeah, that brings me on really nicely to my next question about how do shelter boxes, shelter kits, the hurricane strapping and the cash assistance make a difference for families on the ground, especially in those crucial kind of first few weeks and days?
I mean, we're fortunate. We've got a lot of experience working in the Philippines, and I think we know that sort of local context really well. So we're able to deliver, the shelter kits are great because it means people that can do repairs on damaged properties, but it also means that if they needed to, and with a little bit of extra assistance, they can start to do reconstruction. So it's better than a tent in some respects because it means they can move their journey onwards, right? They can get themselves a structure, a home that then over a period of time, as they collect more resources, they can start to add to. And what we went back and we've been, we went to do some monitoring to see how people were getting on. And people were telling us how they've been able to use the cash in ways that were meaningful for themselves, right?
Yeah.
For them, their families, those choices then that they were able to make in the way that they recovered was really, really important. It also meant that they could make use of the aid materials we'd provided and turn that into shelter, whereas they may not have been able to do that prior. So we saw some really good, we were able to deliver that project. Our first distributions, I think, were something like 3 weeks after the actual event, but people were then on a road to recovery quite quickly, if you like, as a result of that. So within a sort of a month, people are back into really good housing then, or at least, those really good housing units are being built. So so we're quite confident that the outcomes for people are going to be really good there. But we've got some monitoring. We always go back and do, sort of formal monitoring thereafter. We're going to be doing that in the next sort of month or two, just to see what people's progress looks like and check in on that.
Initially, that's really, really positive to hear. Obviously, responding to multiple disasters simultaneously must be incredibly challenging. How does ShelterBox prepare for any overlapping emergencies and make sure aid reaches those who need it most? Obviously, we touched a little bit upon how you have warehouses where you keep stock on the ground. But is there any other factors?
So we do have, we've got the support from our HQ back here in the UK. We've got a global kind of volunteer body, if you like, that we can also call upon to give us extra, additional human resources, if you like, in those sort of contexts, which we absolutely did. We have response team members that we brought in from around the world in order to support us on that. But the pre-position is really key because it means we can quite easily and quite quickly get hold of the materials we need. And then, as I was already mentioned, partnerships, if you like, are really also critical to that, where we can sort of leverage that additional resource, which we might not be able to provide ourselves, particularly in a complex environment such as this one. It means we can lean on others, if you like, for their support so that we can deliver in a way that makes best sense for everybody involved. So it's a lot of it's about people and a lot of it's about being able to kind of keep those relationships going, if you like, when it's not a crisis,
Absolutely.
between disasters is when we're really doing a lot of work, which perhaps people don't really necessarily see.
Just so great to see. I think as well, having those supplies on the ground, I mentioned it, is absolutely crucial. Is there any other areas where you would keep stock in warehouses, anywhere that potentially is like prone, like the Philippines?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have hubs around the world, actually, that are part of United Nations humanitarian response depots, and also Red Cross have their own warehousing system as well. So we utilize space in those hubs around the world in places like Panama, one in Barbados now for when we respond to the Caribbean, and Dubai. So sort of, these sort of key locations really, which means that, when a sort of, disaster strikes in a particular area, that we can, relatively speaking, get kits to that place quite quickly based on what's sort of needed on the ground. So so we do have those hubs, if you like, which are positioned around the globe.
Brilliant. I think I always thought, anyway, that it was just kind of shipped out from Cornwall as and when it happened. So kind of learning the little inner workings there of how ShelterBox works. It's really interesting.
It used to be. I mean, we used to ship it out of that Helston warehouse, but being able to scale up, being able to do things on a much bigger scale is really what we're all about. We're looking for that growth and looking to be able to help more people.
Absolutely.
Because, that's what's that's the way of the world, unfortunately.
Just finally, Martin, can you remind people how they can support ShelterBox or even just find out more information?
Yeah, if people are interested, please do go to our website, shelterbox.org. And that just talks about all of those crises that I've just discussed. It also talks about ways that you can meaningfully get involved as well. And I mean, if you are moved by what you see there, then please do feel free. We do have that sort of donate option, if you like. And that's where, as I say, we rely on a lot of our our ability to support people really does come from that route. So yeah, if you are moved by what you've heard and what you see on our website, then please do feel free. But that's where to go if you want to see how to get involved and how to help.
NEWSWAVE.
Thank you to Bryna Jordan and to Martin Strutton there. Right, you're listening to NEWSWAVE here on Chaos Radio with me, Tom Howe. Now for something I'm super excited about. The UK Community Radio Network has officially launched the first ever Community Radio Week, a nationwide celebration running from Monday 2nd to Sunday 8th of February 2026. Now, this brand new initiative builds on the huge success of last year's Community Radio Day here in Cornwall, where 6 local stations came together for an impressive county-wide simulcast, a moment that really proved what's possible when community radio unites. Now, Pete G and Nathan Hunkin dive deeper in this next segment into what this means for our sector, our listeners, and the future of broadcasting locally.
NEWSWAVE.
I am delighted to welcome a familiar voice here on Chaos Radio, our very own Nathan Hunkin, Director of Digital and Communication here at the Chaos Group. Morning, me old fruity. How you doing?
Good morning. This is like old times, isn't it?
It is.
Back in the studio together. Very good.
It is. But I'm looking forward to being in the newly rebuilt Studio One.
Not far away, I'm told.
Yes,
Not far away.
I've been told the same thing.
Yeah.
Several times. For weeks. No, seriously. I mean, the boys are doing a fantastic job in there. And
How are you?
amazing.
Are you on breakfast? This is nice.
I am. I've got my new co-presenter with me this morning. Of course, he can't speak. Although he did very loudly when you walked in.
He knows when the mics are up and when they're not.
He
It's
does.
very good. You trained him well.
I have trained him well. He's a radio dog.
Is
Special
that it?
radio. Yeah, it is now.
Love that.
Yeah. It's our pets are part of our families and therefore part of our community, and this is community radio.
Yeah, it's one big family, see?
It is. So come on, let's talk about community radio and what makes it different from other stations like, commercial stations.
Yeah, so for listeners of Chaos Radio, hopefully you enjoy everything we do, all our broadcasts and all our news and information and events and everything that we get up to. Community radio, I think, is really special because it can be hyper-localised. It really focuses on a certain area, and for here at Chaos Radio, we focus on St Austell and the surrounding areas and all the great things that happen there. And I think it's a real opportunity for like grassroots organisations, community groups, the people living in our community to shout about what they do. We have some fantastic interviews that might not get picked up by some other stations. When you turn on your radio, it looks very different from how it used to look 20 years ago. You think there's a lot more choice now, there's a lot more variety, there's a lot more different ways to listen to radio. And I think personally, community radio has had a bit of a resurgence over the last few years because there's so much choice, because things have been watered down so much. People are turning back to what's happening on their doorstep. They want to know. They want to hear local voices. They want to hear local news and information and what's happening in their local area. So I think it's the week coming up is a bit of a celebration for community radio stations, but also for the people who listen to it, and reminding people why community radio is really important, because it's a lot to run a radio station, isn't it?
It is.
And I think what I love about community radio is we have a lot of freedom to choose what we broadcast, where some of the bigger stations, some of the BBC stations are kind of dictated by the big bosses at the top.
Yep.
There's a certain format they want, and that works for them. That's great. And if you enjoy that, that's really good. But for us, if we want to do 2 hours of reggae, we're going to do 2 hours of reggae. And no one can stop us.
Wonder when that happens.
Exactly. You can turn on Chaos and hear a Cornish language show. You can hear the reggae show. You can hear American chart hits. You can hear songs specifically from the 10s.
Folk music,
everything. Dance on a Friday night. There's so much variety in community radio. We know, we're not the only ones doing it. We've got some great community radio stations here in Cornwall, all doing similar things for their own parts of Cornwall.
Yeah, I mean, Source are extremely diverse. They often have live jazz sessions.
Yeah.
Which is just fantastic to listen to. Local musicians playing some great music. And it's I mean, if you only have to look through, I think, the schedules of any community station. And most community stations provide exactly what they're supposed to, and that is something for everybody.
Yeah, and that's the important. So Community Radio Day on Saturday, the 7th of February, I believe, 6th or 7th. I can't quite sure, but it's not this weekend. It's
You were
next
looking at me
weekend.
for confirmation, weren't you?
Yeah, you got the facts in front of you.
You're absolutely right. It's Saturday. Starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, excellent. So that is what it's all about. It's about celebrating community radio here in Cornwall, shining a spotlight on all the great things that happen and the people that make it happen as well every day.
So, obviously, we know everybody that's involved in every station in Cornwall, because obviously we work very closely with them. But what if people want to get involved? How do they do it?
With community radio, there's so many different opportunities. So, it can transcend just listening to community radio. I mean, obviously, if you're doing great things in your community and you want some help to shout about it, get in touch and we can, bring you in for an interview, maybe come and see you, do a piece on it, maybe even come to your event. Going on from there, there's loads of volunteering opportunities in community radio. You might want to learn to be a producer and work out, how do I put radio together? I've got a bit of time, I'd love to be part of that journey. You might want to learn some skills to capture stories in the community to then bring them to the radio.
Community journalism.
Media. Exactly that. You might, have a bit of experience in presenting or maybe have a bit of a passion for presenting and want to hone that craft and maybe you want to do a jazz show or whatever you want to be. So there's so many different opportunities in community radio. There's also some fantastic other opportunities that really flexible around what time people can give. It might be you can only spare a few hours in a month, but then sign up to be a volunteer, come along and support when we go out on events.
There's still a space and presenting, a lot of people, I want to be a presenter, but then actually when they really get into it, find that actually it's not really for them, because it's not for everybody. But there are plenty of other things that they can do. It's not all about just getting behind the mic and talking. It's and another thing, you get a lot of people that, I was a disco DJ in 1963, like I was in the early 1980s, but that's not the point. It's very different now. I moved into radio, and there was a lot to learn. Even I thought back then as a very, very, very young man, I thought, you just sit behind the mic and push this up. No, there's a lot to it. But the beautiful thing is that we have the people with the skills and the experience to teach people how to do it if they want to do it.
Yeah, that's it. And it's not always it doesn't always have to be in a live environment as well. So a few of our shows here at Chaos Radio, because some of the topics and the conversations are a bit more in-depth, they're a bit more specialist, they are recorded in advance to make the best of it, and that really fits around people's time. I think another fantastic way you can support community radio is, if you're a local business or organisation, you want a bit of advertising, you want to sponsor a show. Community radio is incredibly good value for money and great positioning because of that hyper locality. If you've got an organisation or a business in St Austell and you need to engage with people, you want to reach more people, you want to promote your business, it could be brand awareness, it could be getting them to go somewhere, then community radio is great value for money, and it's a great way to support your local community radio station because we're not big corporates, we are non-profit organisations that are purely here to support the community in so many different ways.
Yep. And it's been great to see how community, because Cornwall was one of the first places in the country to actually get fully licensed, and of course the forerunner of this station, Radio St Austell Bay, is the longest running
the
license,
OG, the original
licensed Ofcom licensed station in the county, and then obviously more moved on. Source have been around some years now as well, and obviously others have followed on as well. And again, I think there is something for everyone. And the other thing is that if you want to volunteer and you want to do a show, whatever, this particular station, us, for example, it might not suit. You come along, talk to us, and we find out. But there might be a suitable slot for you on another station, and we will help you with them to get in if that's what suits you. It's all about what you want to do and how you want to kind of join in and provide your time, and everybody respects that you are giving it freely. So we'll help you in any way we can to get involved in radio, whether it's with us or with another station within Cornwall.
Yeah, and collaboration is such an important thing for the stations in Cornwall. You know, we do work together, and this is the point of the big special broadcast we're doing next Saturday to show off that collaboration.
Starting at 10 o'clock.
Starting at 10 o'clock, there you go. So for next Saturday then, it is officially Community Radio Day here in Cornwall. Your local community station, wherever you are in Cornwall, and the Isles of Scilly as well. So we've got Islands FM on the Isles of Scilly, Coast FM in the Penzance area. We've got CHBN in Truro, Source in Falmouth, Chaos here in St Austell, all going to be broadcasting, not all at the same time, that would be absolute carnage. We're all taking an hour on each other's stations that will be broadcast right across Cornwall. We did it last year, it was a huge success, listeners loved it, stations loved it, and it was a great way to showcase, you know, what happens in community radio and the great things, because there's such variety as well. You know, you listen to how we sound compared to CHBN in Truro, or how Coast do it, or how Islands FM do it.
Each station sounds differently, and that's because every radio station in the country, including the commercial ones, have what they call a station sound. And it's something that's developed by the producers and the directors of the stations that put it together. We want it to sound this way because we think that's what our listeners like. And then we talk to our listeners and find out, and they go, yes, we like that, or no, we don't like that. At which point we will try our very best to do something about it. So this Saturday, 10 o'clock, Community Radio Day.
Next Saturday.
So next Saturday.
It's confusing, isn't it? I wish January would just end, Pete. It's been a long month.
Let's make this a really good day. 10 o'clock, Saturday, the 7th of February, right here on Chaos Radio. And as Nathan said, across our partner stations, Islands FM on the Isles of Scilly, Coast FM in Penzance, Source FM in Falmouth, and CHBN in Truro. You can, of course, listen online at the Chaos Radio mobile app or on your smart speaker.
NEWSWAVE.
Thank you, Pete, and thank you, Nathan. Now, this year, Tanya's Courage Trust marks 20 years of supporting young people affected by cancer across Cornwall, the Isles of Scilly and Devon too. Cheryl Gordon spoke with their founder, Iris Billing, to hear more about the charity and the story behind its creation nearly 2 decades ago.
NEWSWAVE.
Yes, Tanya's Courage was set up in memory of my daughter Tanya, who was 16 and she was diagnosed with adult acute myeloid leukemia. The treatment at the hospital was absolutely fantastic, second to none, you can't complain. There just was no emotional support. There was nobody her own age to talk to, no real sort of family support for us. So all the way through her treatment, she kept saying, when I'm better, I'm going to set something up to support young people with cancer. So when she went into remission, she started the ball rolling on setting up a support group, and we was going to do that together. Unfortunately, she wasn't in remission long enough to get that up and running, and she relapsed. Then the second time around, it was even more isolating, financially, socially, emotionally. You know, we spent 4 or 5 months in Bristol when she had a bone marrow transplant. She was very poorly following that. Financially, we were really struggling, and I lost my job, and it ended up that we actually lost our house because we couldn't afford all the traveling and the eating out and everything, all the extra expense on top of the mortgage. So for us, it was a no-brainer. Tanya had to come first, and so we lost the house. Tanya gained her angel wings on the 7th of April 2005, and I was in my pit for a while after that. And Nikki, my other daughter, came to me one day and said, "Mum, what did Tanya want to do? Come on, let's do it for her." And Tanya had already said that the second time around, she said she wanted it to be more of a charity than a support group. So we started Tanya's Courage, and we called it Tanya's Courage because she fought with such strength and courage that we felt that that was an appropriate name for it.
As you've already said, back then there was very little help for young people with cancer in Cornwall. How has Tanya's Courage Trust helped over the past 20 years?
Oh, Tremendously. I mean, there are a couple more now, as well as us. So, the help is much more now. But I mean, we went to a conference many years ago now, in the earlier days, and we went to a conference put on by the Teenage Cancer Trust, and the CEO sort of stood up and opened the day, and she said, if you look around the room, you see three ladies in purple. Well, they have put Cornwall on the map for supporting young people with cancer. So that was a very proud moment for us. And we work alongside the national charities, the big ones, to give support in Cornwall.
Living in Cornwall, I think we all sometimes feel a little bit isolated at facilities that we may or may not have access to. And knowing that you were able to develop this and make a difference, how does that make you feel?
Very proud. I mean, it's still a bit surreal, like, are we really doing this? I mean, we've fallen into becoming employers and business people, and we only wanted to support young people with cancer, but we have fallen into running a business, really. So it's had its challenges. But yes, we do feel pride, and to think that we've reached 20 years. It's amazing. Never would we have dreamt it would be as big as it is, or going on as long as it is.
Looking back, what are some of the things that really stick in your mind, or powerful ways that the charity has helped young people and their families?
Oh, there's a few. I mean, there's one in particular. We went and saw a young person at Trelisk, and this person requested some things, and one thing they wanted was something to keep them occupied. So we got them, I believe it was a PlayStation, but don't quote me on that. It was a games console of some kind. And we got it, and we got a load of bits for him to eat, and, his favourite foods and things. And we went down Trelisk to see him, to give him these items. And we was told, oh, he's in Bristol. And so we got in the car and drove to Bristol, and he was absolutely thrilled to see us and all of that. And then the doctor came in and said, you can go back to Cornwall. You can go back to Trelisk. Well, it was Easter weekend. It was the Thursday before Good Friday. And they were a very religious family, and they wanted to be together for Easter. And so he got really excited that he could go back. Then about half an hour later, they came in and said, sorry, we can't get you transport until Tuesday after the Easter holiday. And we said, well, can we take him back? And yeah, okay. So that was okay. We phoned his dad, we're taking him back. And then they come in again and said, sorry, you can't take him back because of insurance reasons. So I got on the phone, I organised a private ambulance and got him back that day. That young person passed away not long after that. So for us to think that we got him back to Cornwall, I mean, he wasn't home, he was in hospital still, but the whole family could get there, to see him. So that's one that really does stick in my mind. We had one young lady that again was years being in treatment, and there was no more they could do. They knew it was her last Christmas, so we bought loads of stuff. We bought games. They went to a cottage for Christmas. We bought all the turkey, the trimmings. We bought 2 massive turkeys because the whole family were getting together, and, lots of games they could play. And, we basically bought Christmas for them. And she passed away, I believe, the 7th of January, something like that. So, again, not long after we did that. So, that family have got those memories. So that's the kind of thing that really stays in my mind.
As Tanya's Courage Trust celebrates 20 years, what message would you like to share about why supporting young people with cancer is so important?
I think I love young people for a start. I mean, when my children were growing up, I had an open house. I never knew how many we were feeding until we were dishing up. Right? How many of you are staying for tea? So I love children and young people, always have done. But the fact that we went through it without that support is the main thing that drives us. I still run it with Nikki, my daughter. We work alongside daily. And, when we had the referral yesterday about the transport, we had to think about it. Can we do this? And the answer was, we can't not do it. And that's how we feel about every referral that we get. We feel that we have to do it because it wasn't there for us. And we want it to be there for others.
Finally, Iris, before we finish, can you tell us how people can find out more and support your charity?
Yes, I mean, we've got, currently we've got 3 shops, one in St Austell, one in Truro and one in Penryn. So they can go in any of the shops, buy something, donate items, or even volunteer in one of our shops. We are always, especially Truro and Penryn, we're always in need of volunteers. But also you can follow us on Facebook and, like our page, because the more people that like our page, the more people will see it, So like us, follow us on Facebook and TikTok and all of those social media groups we are on. And what we really need is corporates to support us a bit more, and community groups, but no matter how small or large, anyone that can support us by choosing us as their charity, that would be amazing. So that's where we really need support.
Fantastic, Iris. Thank you so much for your time today.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to local illustrator and tattoo artist Fynn, to Senior ShelterBox Emergency Coordinator Martin Strutton, to Chaos Radio's Pete G and Nathan Hunkin, and to Iris Billing, the founder of Tanya's Courage Trust. And as ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio, and why not check out our new news website, chaosnews.uk. And remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. Right, that's it. You're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Tom Howe. Thank you so much for listening. Whatever it is that you're doing in your community this week, be sure to add a little chaos.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.